The RPG Maker General Podcast, or the RPGMGP. Proper patience and ambition will reap great reward. Hello everyone, and welcome to a special edition of the RPG Maker General Podcast, or the RPGMGP, your one-stop shop for everything RPG Maker. This is Cody, aka Marpix, and with me today I'm interviewing a special guest. Please introduce yourself.
I am Nana, or Munana, what you prefer. I'm from Brazil, Rio de Janeiro.
Alright, and why would I have Nana from Brazil on this podcast? What are you doing with RPG Maker these days?
Oh, I'm making Virgo vs. the Zodiac.
And you're making that in RPG Maker MV, right?
Yeah.
Could you please briefly describe your game, what it's about and what you do in Virgo vs. the Zodiac?
It's about cute girls killing each other. Basically, Virgo, the personified zodiac sign, goes on a crusade to bring back the Golden Age, the spirit of prosperity and harmony, by going after the other zodiacs to dethrone them.
Ah. So Virgo is purging the universe of the other constellations, as it were.
Yeah.
Awesome. So are you a Virgo yourself? Is that why she's the main character?
Oh no, I'm a Taurus. She's the main character basically because I thought the other zodiacs didn't match the archetype I was looking for, and Taurus isn't a good main character to quest like that.
Yeah, no, I'm a Taurus myself. I was born in May, and we have a reputation for being stubborn assholes.
Yeah, and like lazy.
Yeah, we're not the most likely to go on an adventure.
Yeah, definitely.
So, is this your first project in RPG Maker?
No. I used RPG Maker since last year. I did some other projects before, nothing really worth mentioning, but Virgo isn't the first. Okay,
so when you started your crowdfunding campaign, you didn't open RPG Maker and say, "I'm going to make a game!"
No.
Alright. Why did you decide to make Virgo vs. the Zodiac in RPG Maker, of all engines?
Oh, because I can't code. Mainly because of that. I wanted to work on something I could see the results fast, so I wouldn't give up or anything like that. So RPG Maker did a pretty good job at that.
Yeah, I'm one of those people. I can't code either, so I have to use RPG Maker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how many of our podcasts you've listened to, but I said in episode 5, I tried learning Java, and I messed up like the tutorial they have on Java's website, so I felt it was a sign from God, you are not allowed to code.
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, man. I played through your whole, your demo that you have out where you go through Capricorn's area and you defeat her. I love the art style you guys have, especially like with Virgo. It's only 3 colors, and they're really big blocks, which kind of reminds me of, old school MS-DOS games. How did you decide on that art style?
Oh, I wanted something clean and cute that didn't have a lot going on, and therefore didn't take as much time to make sprites and tile sets for. My other project had a much more complex pixel art style that took days to make single house, and that wouldn't take me anywhere, really. Also, I find blocky stuff prettier, too.
You find blockier stuff pretty?
Yeah.
I'm with you there, mainly because I grew up on the old school NES and Super Nintendo graphics, and I feel like when you have a low resolution like that, you leave things up to the player's imagination.
Oh, definitely. I think you can basically see what you want from the game. It leaves a lot open to interpretation, which makes it ideal for an RPG.
Yeah, definitely. I also loved the art you guys put in. So it's not just the pixel graphics, you also have these large portraits of the main characters, which I'm not the only one that found them really cute.
Yeah, thanks. I think some people find odd that they are wearing anime art and stuff like that.
That they're wearing what?
In anime art.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing that word.
Anime art.
Oh, anime art. Okay.
Anime. Yeah.
Yeah, partner, around here we call it anime.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. Going back to what you said about Virgo being a better choice for the main character, I liked not only, Virgo had a strong personality, because she is very determined and very clear in what she wants to do. She wants to kill the other constellations and bring about the new golden age. And then when you meet Capricorn, she's very cold and calculating. And then at the very end of the demo, you meet Pisces, and she's very kind of, goes with the flow, doesn't care, doesn't understand that love isn't the solution to all problems. So what kind of research did you put into making the Zodiacs like the Zodiac?
Oh, I worked with astrology before, so I had other personalities in my head before even prototyping the game. So everything just built itself somehow. I also tried to gather archetypes and make it a big thing, exploring every little detail of them. I wanted to make everyone very different from one another, so their personalities could clash and have room for character development.
Oh, so especially with Virgo and Pisces, how they're friends, but they're very much opposites. They could learn from each other.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Cool.
Basically, Pisces and Virgo, you mentioned, are complementary opposites in astrology, so they're basically a couple too.
Okay. I only know the Zodiac signs because they're in Final Fantasy Tactics, so forgive me if I get this wrong, but aren't they on the opposite ends of, the chart, like they're 6 months apart on the Zodiac?
Yeah, this is called complementary opposites in astrology. Like, they are opposites, their personalities clash, but they learn with each other because of that.
Ah, because they're so different and they bounce off of each other so much and so strongly that they learn from each other.
Yeah.
Much like we as Tauruses, our complementary zodiac is Scorpio, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I have to know because I'm a Taurus, and you're a Taurus and you made the game. What's Taurus like?
Old Taurus is a goddess, forest goddess, and she just sleeps all year and wakes up one day a year to the food festival. So accurate.
What? Is there food? Then don't bother me. I'm going back to bed.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't leave any for Taurus? Wake me up when it's my birthday. Oh, man. I liked your guys' battle system that you had. It would probably be better if you explained it rather than me, because there's the mutable, the cardinal, and the fixed, and they work in sort of a triangle. So how does that all work?
Ideally, I wanted to focus on 3 stats instead of the regular 4: attack, defense, magic attack, magic defense. And the Zodiac qualities concept is something extremely important to understand the nature and archetype of each sign in addition to their elements. So in Virgo, you have 3 main sets: patience, versatility, and ambition. These are respectively related to the qualities fixed, mutable, and cardinal, you see in every zodiac sign. They all have equal positive and negative traits depending on what kind of skills and foes you're battling. They're used equally in damage calculations for every kind of attack, so if you get some foe using a fixed ability, it will take into account the foe's patience stat to determine damage done and your own patience to determine damage reduction. The idea came, in fact, during my old game development, when I wanted 3 story routes and ended up making 3 main stats, and each stat was correlated to that route. When Virgo came up, I already had the idea in mind to create a comparative battle system in which all damage and defensive calculations were made based on who had the highest stat. This fits with Zodiac concepts as well as not making any stats superior to other in any way.
Ah, so when you use a mutable skill, it reads your mutable stat, or I'm sorry, it's flexibility is what that stat is.
Yeah.
So if you use a mutable skill, it checks your flexibility against the opponent's flexibility. Darn it. Okay, so when you use a mutable skill, it checks your versatility versus the opponent's versatility.
Yeah.
Okay. And therefore, if you try to use, say, a fixed skill, but your patience is low, then it won't do as much damage as your mutable skill will.
Yeah.
Okay. I liked how you have the stat growth set up, where you get, you can give Virgo different ribbons, and she starts rather versatile. She starts with a green dress, but if you take the purple ribbon in the game and you put it on her, then her ambition goes up instead of her flexibility. And it also, when it gets high enough, her dress becomes purple, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I assume, because I didn't see the red ribbon in the demo, so forgive me if I just missed it, but if you wear the red ribbon enough, then her dress turns red, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. What kind of threw me off the first time, too, is when you wear different ribbons and different pieces of equipment, you get different skills. And when you take that off, you don't get the skill anymore.
Yeah.
See, I thought it was like, you know, maybe like Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, where if you used it long enough, you'd keep the skill, and then you could swap it out, but I was very, very wrong.
Yeah. That system you mentioned from Final Fantasy Tactics is kind of how classes work, in the sense that you can mix and match skills. All skills from equipment are removed if the equipment is taken away, but the ones you learn with classes are kept forever. Classes aren't in the demo though. You can change classes after Capricorn in the full game.
Okay, cool. So with the different stats and the mixes of abilities you have, how hard is it to balance a game where you don't really know what the player is going to have, because they could, you know, have really high ambition or really high versatility. They could be wearing all purple equipment. I mean, what was it difficult to make the game playable for any sort of combination?
It was pretty damn tough. I have to play test 6,000 times to predict what players would do in every situation, and even then they managed to surprise me. The best asset to help in this is to watch streams and Let's Plays. I've made alterations on a lot of things already based on that. My main focus is always to let people have their own builds and not limit their enjoyment. I believe it's unnecessary to just add upgrades for basic stuff like long sword 10 attack, great sword 15 attack. The difficulty curve must come from the foes and troops you face. A mere combination of two specific enemies might make the game way harder, so it's something I must take into consideration with caution. Also, I'm not really a fan of percentage chances. Virgo's attacks will never miss, and enemies never have evasion chances unless they use a specific skill for that. This helps greatly to balance a system where every action counts, so you don't completely lose everything because of a unlucky miss.
Oh man, I can agree with that, mainly because we covered this a couple casts ago, where if something has, say, a 75% chance to hit, it's still hitting most of the time, but it's an annoyingly low number. It will miss enough of the time that players get really fed up, and they just decide, you know what, never mind, not doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did like that, especially with the two weapons that are in the demo. You have the spear, which always hits, and then you have the sword, which is a timed hit. And you don't get like a weak hit. Either you press Z and you get the hit, or you don't press Z and you don't get a hit at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more of a skill-based option, which is pretty cool.
I added that because I'm a huge fan of Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga. At first I wanted to make a game all around that kind of timed hits, but it's pretty complicated to pull that off in RPG Maker, so yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the smart move, really, because the input for the sword, I don't know if it's like the script or anything, it seemed kind of finicky to hit, so you have a guaranteed option for people who might get frustrated by trying to hit the timed hit with the sword.
Yeah, they can just go back to the to the spear.
Yeah. For all those casual players. The demo area where you go in to kill Capricorn, it's actually rather large, and I liked how there was a lot of different ways to solve problems. Like there's a point where there are saboteurs looking to blow up a section of the base, and if they do, you can go through, or you can walk all the way around and avoid them entirely.
Yeah, initially when you create events in RPG Maker, you get so many quick options to do anything. A simple conditional branch to check if the player has an item to destroy a door or if they activated the right switch. It's pretty simple to do. I'm actually confused at how many games refer to offer the player a single way to solve problems if the ability to make different solutions isn't that hard. I believe an RPG must be about choices and customization. Customizing only your combat abilities might be enough for most games, but for a story exploration-focused game like Virgo, replay value must come at all times when you play, not only during half of the game.
So you can't just play half the game, you have to play all of the game.
Yeah.
Which includes walking around and solving problems that aren't in battle.
Yeah.
Okay. It felt a lot like the old school Deus Ex to me, where, let's say a door is locked. You can either pick the lock, blow up the door, or find a way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I don't feel enough games do that sort of thing. They just say, well, here's your hallway, and then here's the next fight. You know, have fun.
Yeah.
So you didn't find it very difficult to put in these different kind of layers and branches.
Oh, yeah, because RPG Maker helps a lot with that.
You hear that, other devs? She's calling you out. You gotta step it up, scrub. Some of the decisions, they weren't always like traversing the map. There were some like, a guy wants a coffee, and you can either give it to him or not, and if you do, your ambition goes up, or you can leave him alone. There was also a plate of cookies where, if you eat the cookies, your heresy goes up. And I don't know what heresy does, so I didn't take the cookies. But I liked how every choice in that game, like it had, purple text for, this will increase your ambition if you do it, or red text for this will increase your patience if you do it. I enjoyed how telegraphed they were. The player never feels lost or that they're out of the loop. Where the heck did I put that? It seems like you placed a high priority on making sure the player understood everything they were about to do. Do you believe modern gamers are fed up with vague or meaningless choices, or was this more of just a design decision? You felt that you had to do it?
Yes, I understand the developer point in this, as it's pretty simple to make useless looping choices that only change a sentence or two, and then you get the same result. The hardest part of the demo was to make everything work well for when you kill or spare certain enemies. Unlike just simple conditions for different paths that won't change everything later on, something big with larger impact must be very carefully planned and tested. This takes time and effort, but I'm trying to make the best possible game I can, and this is so important. The reaction as people had when they received different outcomes for their actions was heartwarming. A baseline development philosophy I have in all parts of the game is always to let players know what's going on. Mechanics-wise, for the story, this doesn't really apply. Long were the days when you had to figure out everything yourself or just buy our incredible game guide to artificially increase game length. Virgo knows her place. She's being a Zodiac, just the same as the bosses you fight. This world isn't as strange for her as it is for players, so she knows what stuff is. The best way to communicate this is through color coding everything, I believe.
Yeah, the color coding really helped, because it's a strong theme in your game. If Virgo is very patient, she has a red dress. If she's very ambitious, it becomes purple. And the choices are also blue, red, or purple, which helps reinforce that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like how the game not only offers replay value through the combat aspects where you can try different builds, but also through the choice aspects where you can decide what you want to do and what you don't want to do. And with that, because it's not in the demo, I have to ask, what does heresy do?
Heresy amount isn't in the demo yet, but I assure you it will play a huge part in the future. That's mostly because Ginger is a cookie as well, and Virgo wouldn't want to eat her friends, so heresy kind of counts as an opposite to Virgo playstyle. Some skills will also affect that as well.
Oh, that's right, because it's a plate of cookies and Ginger is a cookie. Because I caught it the second time, because it was mentioned. Ginger's a cookie. Why would you eat your friend? Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Darn it. Yeah. Something else that I thought was cool is there is a boss that you fight, and I won't spoil it all here, but it's a kind of like a mini boss or a sub boss, and you have the option to either finish them or to spare them, and they die anyway. But there's a couple different dialogue sections where Virgo has to say, "Yo, I didn't do it," if you're not the one who did it.
In choices like that, I try to make it as if both choices still correlate to what a Virgo archetype would do in that place without making her personality completely different. That's also the reason for Virgo to be a main character as well, as she's a mutable sign. Her ideas of perfection and all that aren't as fixed as a fixed character would. So she kind of bounces around in choices sometimes and also qualities.
That makes a lot of sense. With Virgo being versatile, she works well as a stand-in for the player because she's not quite as set as one of the other signs would be. An ambitious character would have to be ambitious all the time, or a fixed one, as we've said before, wouldn't go on the adventure in the first place.
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
And it would feel boring after some time.
Yeah, there wouldn't be as much growth that way, no.
Yeah.
With all the decisions you have in the game, both in combat and outside of combat, I've already said it's going to be a great game to replay, to finish it and pick it back up and try a different route. Did you feel like you were going to fall victim to feature creep, because, just adding one more feature wouldn't hurt, right? Just put one more thing in there.
I'm pretty comfortable with where the game is right now, I guess. At first, believe it or not, it would be more like a roguelike kind of thing, and you play through a random realm, kill a Zodiac, and get teleported back to the hub to do it again. That was it. But just like a child, your game grows, especially when you notice its potential. I can't stress this enough, though. The scope must always begin very small and grow accordingly to what you can do. There are lots of features I'd love to put in Virgo that I unfortunately can't make them myself. You must be grounded for development to not let it get out of hand. My biggest problem with the amount of features is how easily everything may fall apart due to bugs and overlooks. Adding new stuff is easy, but making them fit and work together with all the other stuff you added is a challenge I constantly have to overcome.
That's every developer, really. You have your nice little pile of stuff, you try to put something else in, and then everything just falls apart.
Yeah. Exactly like that.
One more question regarding the game, because again, my expertise in the Zodiac revolves around Final Fantasy Tactics. In that game, there is one secret character with the Zodiac sign Serpentarius, modernly known as, I'm going to butcher this, Ophiuchus or something. In Virgo, we get told about a demon star. You don't have to spoil this if you don't want to, but is Serpentarius involved in the game?
Nope.
Oh. Darn it.
Maybe. But now, no.
Oh, alright. DLC. Got it. Alright, let's talk about your crowdfunding campaign. So this should be airing when your campaign starts, right?
Yeah.
What is your funding goal? How much money are you looking to raise?
Oh, $15,000 to around that.
And what would that money cover?
Mostly paying my musicians. Oh, I work with two musicians right now. I do all the game by myself, but I work with two musicians. And paying for extra stuff like equipment. I need a new computer to keep work on the game. And basically that.
All right, so you need to pay your musicians, and you need to get a new computer, and probably some other things that would help with the release of the game.
Oh yeah, taxes too. Like taxes in Brazil is absurd. So a lot of the money will go to that, and also paying some bills. We need to pay them, unfortunately.
It would be hard to code your game if you didn't have any electricity.
Yeah.
Did you have any stretch goals planned?
For stretch goals, I've planned my stretch goals around getting the money to hire some programmers and commission certain game elements. Some that come to mind are animated enemies, playing some sections with other Zodiacs, party members, and shoot them up minigames. Stretch goals are a bit complicated, though, because they might take a lot of development time, and I want to release Virgo as soon as possible. Delays hurt my soul.
Fair enough.
So,
yeah, that's something I forgot to ask you in the game part. So Virgo in the demo is your only party member. How many end up joining you, and how many are you going to fight?
so I was thinking of making Virgo the only party member for the whole game. So battles should be more focused, etc. But now I'm considering party members, and people want. So I don't know yet how many would be. Probably 3.
Okay. Well, we'll have fun balancing the battles.
Yeah.
Oh man. So you're not the first person to crowdfund a video game on the internet. There's been a couple famous examples like Tim Schafer's Broken Age, Tex Murphy Tesla Effect. There's also been a couple unsuccessful examples, but there's been enough of those we aren't going to get into them. There's also been Glitched, who I ended up interviewing a couple months ago. Have you learned?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome guys. Have you learned anything from looking at other crowdfunding campaigns? Do you have like a strategy planned? Because part of your strategy that I've seen is like your visual presentation is amazing. You know, your Tumblr looks great, your itch.io looks great. You know, you definitely try to put on a good face when you make those. So what else have you learned?
Oh, I believe I did learn a lot of things in campaigns, especially with Glitched. Their campaign is amazing. Oh my god. And whenever I see a big campaign getting hundreds of thousands of dollars, I understand that they did a lot of things right, such as a direct pitch that leaves you curious, a good video that shows what we as backers want to know, and a description page that's well done and proves that they can do that game. Promises that don't get money unless you have proof that you're worth it. The most successful campaigns are from developers who made a lot of games before, but even then the teams mean a lot more for development than people think. A single director isn't enough. I think also having a demo is necessary, at least for me. But I learned a lot from Glitched campaign, also Long Gone Days from RPG Maker.
Oh yeah, because Long Gone Days had their own Kickstarter too.
Yeah, in Indiegogo.
Oh, that's right, because they're from South America too, and Kickstarter's a little weird about South America.
Yeah, no, I think it's Mexico.
Oh, Mexico. Yeah. Okay.
Mexico? No, Chile.
Chile. Okay. All right. We're in the right hemisphere. Yeah. Yeah, because with the Long Gone Days people and Glitched and you know, this is kind of your first shot at it, so you don't have, like, a resume to show people like Tim Schafer did, so it's more important to have the demo and to have your other ducks in a row, as it were, to make a good impression.
Yeah, to prove people I can develop the game.
Yeah, like, I am Nana, this is my game, it's gonna get done!
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. On that note, how do you stay motivated? Because you've been working on it for free for, however long. What keeps you going?
I work on it every day, so it kind of became routine. I just wake up, turn RPG Maker, and go to work. Some days I just want to lay in bed, but I feel guilty thinking the game, and then I work. So maybe finishing it is the best way to keep motivated. Like, I need to finish this thing.
Oh, God. You just wake up and you're like, all right, time to go.
Yeah. I'm just obsessed with the game.
That's a good attitude to have. You want to be obsessed with what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like you have the two musicians, but you're kind of you're the art person, you're the programmer, you're the battle balancer. What's your routine? How do you get all that stuff done?
Basically, all day, every day. Apart from some very tiring financial and marketing things, working on Virgo basically functions as my leisure time as well. Midnight onwards is my peak work time. It's always best if the entire neighborhood is completely silent. There's nothing to take away my concentration for the game to become alive. I was in college last year, but then I dropped it to work full-time in Virgo. My grandma now helps me financially, but says that this won't last long and stuff like that. So the campaign comes to help with that. I want to keep working full-time in it, but if I can't, I'll just get a day job and keep work out in it in my free time.
And the Kickstarter money would definitely help with that. It would help your grandma a bit too.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Nana, are you done with your game yet?
Not yet. Maybe next year.
I think if this is as successful as I think it'll be, you'll be able to pay her back and then some.
Oh, that would be awesome. She would cry.
Man, I do hope this ends up well for you, because you have a great work ethic and a great game on your hands.
Thank you.
So just another...
It means a lot.
Of course. Just a couple random questions for you. So what's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie is Old Boy, the original one by Chan-wook Park. It's awesome. Everyone should watch. I think if I talk about it, it might give spoilers, so no.
Okay, so just watch Old Boy.
Yeah.
All right. What's your favorite food?
Lasagna.
Lasagna.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound very Brazilian.
Oh no, I love pasta, so Italian food is the best.
Do you have anything you'd like to say in your native Portuguese for your Brazilian fans out there?
Oh, just a second. Thinking.
Take your time. It's only going to be published on the internet for the whole world to hear. Don't worry.
I'm here now.
Okay.
Can I talk in Portuguese?
I don't know, can you?
No, I just talk. Ok. Queria apenas agradecer pelo suporte que vocês têm dado todo esse tempo, pelas fanarts e por todo o apoio. E eu espero que vocês gostem do jogo quando estiver pronto. Was that good?
I didn't understand a word of it, but you heard the lady. Give your money to Virgo versus the Zodiac. All right. And with that, is there anything else you'd like to add since we're coming up at the end of the questioning here?
I would like to thank people for supporting me, people on Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. They're awesome. I love you all. Guys from Discord, you're awesome. And thank you, guys, for RPGMG podcast. You guys are awesome too.
Well, not to brag, but well, in that case, thank you all for tuning into a special edition of the RPGMG podcast. This is Cody. We'll catch y'all next time.
Bye.
Is that it? You could say this is Nana and something if you want.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Nana, and what I need to say.
It just a witty comment, you know, like Red Mage always says, "This is Red Mage, see y'all later," and Deldris always says, "This is Deldris, good luck and dank memes." You know, just any witty line you want to say is perfect.
This is Nana from Virgo versus the Zodiac. Stay flexible.
Perfect. All right, and there you go. There's your interview. Yay!
Yeah! I'm crying.
Why are you crying?
So difficult.
You did great.